Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 16th, and we are live with episode number 7 of the Mindless Meanderings. I'm Jesse Freeze, coming to you from Central Texas, where it is a beautiful day, a lot colder than yesterday, like 20 degrees cooler, so that's nice.
Yeah, and I'm Jamin Freeze coming at you from the central part of the U.S. here, where we are in red flag warnings because it's been so frickin' dry.
Red flag warnings.
Yeah, they're expecting that there's good possibilities of some prairie fires starting up.
Okay, but I thought red flags were like for the coast. Like, is that a new thing now in Kansas or something? Or
no, it's quite often been seen down in Texas and stuff like that too. Red flag warnings. That's what they're calling them. I haven't seen that term since before this year, but early this year I was seeing it as well. But yeah, we're in a prairie fire watch area right now, so we're not quite in that red flag warning. But usually the red flag warnings are associated with very hot temperature and very dry, so very easily can spark a fire. But yeah, who knows?
That is weird.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's good to know. That is good to know.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's start off with some furry news.
Furry news. Ooh.
Furry news. I just saw this article that's coming out of Russia, and apparently they're really upset that furries are invading Russia. And they blame it on a Western plot.
Oh, wow. That's amusing.
Yeah, so they're cracking down on children identifying as cats and other animals. Yep.
Well, I can't really blame them for that. If only we would have done something like that, tell the kids in elementary school, I'm sorry, but you're not a freaking dog.
Well, you would think that it wouldn't need cracking down on because, well, it's self-evident, I would think. But,
Yeah, but I mean, it's become so rampant now in Europe and the U.S. here. I mean, I've heard of schools that have actually put kitty litter boxes out for children that thought that they were cats.
Well, yeah, I've heard the same stories, but then there's always pushback saying that those stories are all fake. So I don't know exactly what's going on. It wouldn't really fully surprise me, but I've never heard of anybody using one, at least. So maybe it's just one of those things where they put a box and they pretend that they're gonna.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. They basically, I think they put a box there just so that the kid can say, yes, see, I'm a cat. I have a kitty litter box.
Something. Yeah. But yeah, it's a Western plot. So gotta love that.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That is hilarious. Oh, I don't even know what to follow that up with.
Gold. That's gold right there, then. Yeah.
That it absolutely is. So have you heard about Elon going into tech news? Have you heard about the Optimus robot, the Tesla taxi, and the new bus/van that they've rolled out?
Not really.
Okay. They had a pretty big launch party in Silicon Valley where they rolled out the Optimus robot.
Right, I saw
they're
that
expecting,
but
in that same thing, they also rolled out the Tesla taxi, which is a vehicle that has no steering wheel, no anything.
Oh yeah, I think I heard something about that, but yeah.
And then they have a van. I think it's more like a bus because it can hold like 21 people in it.
Holy.
And I mean, it's just like this huge oblong thing that just has seats all over inside. There's absolutely nowhere for a driver to sit or anything like that. Again, just like the Tesla taxi, there's no steering wheel or anything. So they rolled that out. Of course, on their own testing grounds and stuff, they operated flawlessly. But
of course.
we'll see how well they can adapt that into future in regular traffic and stuff. But yeah, those I thought those were pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty
then
cool.
regarding that, with the taxi and the van and the Tesla cars and stuff like that, they rely heavily on AI operation for driving them. I heard something extremely interesting.
What?
From NVIDIA, the creator of NVIDIA,
Uh-huh.
he was being interviewed and talking to some people, and he said, he was like, normally when somebody wants to build a huge factory where we're putting in like hundreds of thousands of our chips and stuff like that, to of our whatever they're called, the basically, the computer brain for the AI.
Uh-huh.
They're like, it usually takes about 3 years to plan and build it, and then it takes about a year to get everything hooked up inside.
Uh-huh.
When Musk did it, he placed an order for like 200,000 units, which is larger than most of them have. He built the building and planned and got the infrastructure all done within a year. And it took them 19 days only to set up all of the servers, all of the wiring, and all that other crap. I mean, he just had it planned to the T.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where he's operating his AI out of now. So he's even talking now about adding maybe another 200,000 units into the facility to ramp up his AI capabilities for his cars and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's definitely trying to fast track getting that stuff up and working.
That's kind of cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Musk, he knows to. He has geniuses, but he seems to know how to streamline things and get things actually done and everything like that. So
yes, he absolutely does.
And then he had this huge booster that actually came back to the launch pad and they caught it. That was sweet.
The Starship. Yep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just the Starship that was cool about that day. Because on the Starship booster, he launched their shuttle, the one that they planned on moving everything to Mars and back.
The capsule, yeah.
Yeah, the capsule. And so they were testing that as well. And you know how upon re-entry, basically everything loses communication because of the plasma field that builds up around the vehicle re-entering? Because of Starlink, they had 100% communication with the cameras the whole way down.
You're kidding.
No.
That is awesome. That is awesome. It makes sense.
I watched it. What they were watching for was the last few tests that they've run. They've had some problems where the shielding on the flaps and the fins wasn't quite good enough, and so it was getting through in the places where it connects.
Got it.
And so they had rebuffed everything, and we were, as you could watch it as it was coming down. One out of the three started overheating, and you could start seeing the red glow on the side. You're not supposed to see the red glow. The other three, there was nothing, just pure black. Which means that outside of that one, they are able to fully control the vehicle all the way down to landing.
That is awesome. That really is.
And then
cool.
they flipped it. They did a flip on its way down. And soft landed into the Indian Ocean. It landed with so little momentum that it didn't even fully submerge in the ocean.
Wow, that's impressive. That is cool. Yeah.
And what's even cooler about that is that they set up buoys right around the target area they wanted to land.
Okay.
And they could see it on all the buoys. It went right in the middle.
Nice. No, SpaceX is quite impressive. What they've been doing and everything I'm loving what they're doing. It's
Yeah, and then the video of them catching that rocket coming down. Oh God, that was so awesome.
It was. That really was really cool. I still watch it from time to time just because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, same here. Yep. It's something that you'll never see ever again for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe with a different rocket, but then it's a different rocket. It's already been done once, so that's doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like if they would have been landing on one of their platforms with the landing gear, I'd be like, you've been doing that with Falcon 9 now for the last 3-4 years. It's no big deal that you can do that.
Yep.
But with this, it had 0 landing capability. If that didn't catch it, it would have hit the ground and blew up.
Exactly. That is crazy. That's pretty cool, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see. In other tech news, apparently Dell, Dell Computers.
Yep.
Here in my home, or not hometown, but in my town of Round Rock, they gave like a couple days notice that they were going to return to 5 days in office work. So parents had to figure everything out in a matter of a couple days.
So they're no longer going to be remote. Everyone has to be in the office now.
Yep,
nice.
Yep. That's how they've been.
I think everybody should do that.
To me, generally the only reason why they're doing it is because they have the infrastructure that they're paying for, and they don't want it to go to waste. To me,
well, yeah, and
because overall, it's like Carol. She goes into the office twice a week. But she gets just as much done, sometimes even more, here at home because there's not so many distractions and things like that. So I think some may need to go into the office, but I'm not sure if all full-time would actually be needed. You need to be close so that you can go in, of course. But I don't.
So I think if you work as a team on something, like if you're like with Dell, if you're part of a team that's trying to design new computer components or something like that, or trying to find ingenious ways of putting things together, it's kind of like if you're working alone, you have 0 extra input from anyone else, and so you may not think of some ideas. Office managers and stuff like that, they don't really need to go in or anything like that.
Well, this really was for the sales team. The
sales team?
Yeah, the sales team. So
sales teams are in office?
Apparently.
I've never talked to a salesman that spends more than like an hour or 2 in the office. A good one, anyways.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, no, didn't make much sense to me.
Yep.
Let's see here. Do you have any other tech, or I got some more tech?
No, that's all I've got for tech.
Okay. I just read about this diesel truck thing that's going on in California. So California, their dealers, like big rig dealers and everything like that, per California law, they can only sell a diesel truck if they have sold a EV truck.
Oh God!
At a 1-to-1 exchange.
Wow!
Exactly. But EV rigs cost at least twice as much as a diesel.
Oh yeah,
and that's even after a $40,000 tax credit from the Fed.
Yep. Plus, not to mention you buy an EV truck, and you're reliant on the electric hookup connections across the country, which are not to the point where they can really support a lot of trucks on the interstate right now.
No, exactly. And not only that, but the range on an EV big rig, do you know what that is?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's no more than like 100 or 200 miles.
Yeah, it's 150 miles.
Yeah.
But like a diesel range is like 1,000 to 1,500.
Oh yeah, I could easily. Back when I was driving over the road, I easily drove halfway across the country without having to fuel up.
Exactly. So
you've got I had a pair of 150-gallon tanks on my truck.
Well, of course. But yeah, you have a large range, and then you can fill up.
Yeah.
It's not that big takes a while to fill up, but you know, you can
No,
go.
that's actually surprising. It doesn't. It
Okay.
took me no more than 10 minutes to fuel my truck up at any time.
Oh wow, that's not bad at all. That is not bad at
Yeah,
all.
their pumps are insanely fast.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Plus, you have bigger nozzles and everything like that. Yeah,
Much bigger nozzles, and you're fueling both of them at the same time because
makes
you've
sense.
got fuel nozzles on both sides of the truck. So
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah.
But yeah, so apparently a lot of truckers in California, they're just keeping their old rigs
Oh yeah.
because it just doesn't make sense otherwise, and so they're like putting money into fixing the rigs instead of buying new rigs that
Yep.
are more fuel efficient. And so actually, it's
Yep.
actually probably causing more of an
Oh
issue.
yeah.
But yeah, it's
Oh
I thought
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. The California and their 1-to-1. You know, that's
Well, California is kind of weird.
they
Like,
are.
did you hear? Did you hear that Elon Musk, that SpaceX was trying to get a was trying to increase their number of launches in California by about a quarter,
Right, right, right.
but the California government decided to say no
Yep.
because they don't like the things that he's been posting on X.
I know. What kind of jackassery is that? You know, it's
Yeah, I mean, going. He's an individual. That's one thing that really confuses me about a lot of this. You I hear a lot of I see even on X, I see people talking about how Elon Musk bought Twitter because it was censoring people and stuff like that.
right.
But then his views are conservative, so you're just as bad.
Uh-huh.
But he's not censoring the liberal views.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So,
His personal views may be more conservative than yours, but his personal views don't affect your ability to use the communication tool that is X.
apparently it does in their mind. But then,
Yeah.
it was like what? There was this story I read where liberals are a bit weird, especially when it comes to this, to the point where there was a story about how children of liberals like really, really hate Trump. Like they call him
Yeah.
Hitler and everything like this, even though
Yep.
these little elementary kids don't know who Hitler is or anything like that. They're
Oh yeah.
calling him
Yeah.
Hitler and everything like that. And
Yep.
but it's not reverse. It's like the conservative children
Yeah.
don't just automatically hate Harris
Yeah.
or
No,
Biden.
absolutely.
They're more
Yep.
yeah, it's a person, but yeah, these
Yeah.
liberals are like going hardcore. It's crazy. It is really crazy.
Well, ever since the littlest brother's girlfriend told me that she thought all Republicans should be dead,
Wow.
I've kind of, nothing surprises me with what they say or do.
I know that's a bit extreme. That's a bit extreme.
Yeah, yeah.
But at least so there's some wins for the conservative side. Looks like that Colorado cake baker, he won again in court.
Of course he did. He didn't do anything wrong.
I know, but yeah, he won again, so that's good.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
So and then we have Elon, who is, of course, he's not 100% free speech. He doesn't like it when people talk bad about him and things like that. But this is everybody.
Yeah.
But in general, he's not so bad. I think personally when it comes to X and everything like that.
Yep. Well, talking about court cases, did you hear about the Trump fraud case that went up to the appellate court?
The New York one where he was convicted or something like that? Is that
the one? The one dealing with the Mar-a-Lago evaluation, where they wanted to fine him like hundreds of millions of dollars for defrauding the bank.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So that went up to the appellate court, and didn't end so well for the people prosecuting.
How so?
Well, when you go to an appellate court, there's 5 judges that are sitting, and you basically explain the merits of your case, and you basically prove to them that this case should have even be brought
right
up to the court. So throughout this whole time, the judges just kept interrupting the liberal lawyers and to ask questions.
Uh-huh.
One of the questions was, "Can you find me any other time in history where the person who took the loan was able to call the bank and the bank say that they weren't defrauded?"
Uh-huh.
They found one that's partially fit in
Okay.
the entire history of the United States. So then they asked, "Have you ever prosecuted someone for lying about the value of their property when it resulted in the entire loan being paid back with interest?"
Right.
They couldn't find one after 2 hours of searching.
Wow.
So then they're like, "Okay, so we'll give you another shot here. Have you ever seen an attorney general prosecute a case where there was no damage to the public? The person the person that you claim was defrauded there was no damage to them,
Uh-huh.
and the person that applied for the loan did not act in malice when they took the loan."
Uh-huh.
They searched for 6 hours and could not find a single case where that had been brought up by a district attorney or by the attorney general.
Okay.
So it ended up, the judges then looked at the lawyers that had brought the case and said, "You all might need to be sanctioned for bringing this case in a malicious manner."
Oh, wow. Wow.
One judge said, "I have come to believe that since a case like this has never been brought in the history of the United States, let alone New York, I believe that you only filed the case because the defendant was running for president, which puts you afoul of not only multiple regulations regarding the law, but also runs you afoul of election interference."
Wow.
This was a judge's decision on this matter.
Holy.
The entire closing arguments of the case was not the lib lawyers talking about, this is why we brought the case. They simply said, "We just hope that the court would take into account that lawyers need to be able to file these types of cases. So please don't sanction us."
What?
Yeah, their entire argument was begging not to be sanctioned.
That is crazy. No,
yeah,
they don't. Lawyers, they don't need to file these cases just because they
no,
think
because it's a bullshit case.
Exactly. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is
so
crazy.
that turned out pretty well for Trump.
Yeah. Was that a final decision or just the arguments?
That was, I believe, the final decision came down that the case was to be thrown out.
Okay. Huh.
So all of the fraud, the entire fraud that he was found guilty of is completely going away. The state New York will have to pay back every penny that Trump has given them. It's just a massive hit.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. See if that was final or whatnot. I don't see anything. That's weird. But then the news has been so. Let's not talk about Trump. Let's not give him good news or anything like that. Yep. It's been really crazy lately. But I'll look into that. Yeah. This seems quite interesting. I'd like to know the full story of that.
I don't know for sure if that was the final case, if that was the final judgment. What I saw was just a person explaining what had happened during the trial in the appellate court.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't say that it was finalized or anything like that, but just the fact that they spent their entire closing argument begging not to be sanctioned is just hilarious.
That really is funny. That is really weird. Yeah. I like it, though. That's pretty nice, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. On to health news. Apparently, a study finds that 2 caffeinated drinks, especially coffee, they can reduce your diabetes risk and heart attack risk. So that's kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah. Do you drink coffee?
No.
Well,
No,
that's
I
your
haven't
problem,
drank
Jamie.
coffee in a
That's
very,
your
very long
problem.
time.
That's your problem. Go
I
on.
guess I'll have to start buying. Well, I mean, I own coffee. I've got a grinder. I've got coffee beans. I could make coffee,
See? Yeah,
but
it says drinking several cups of caffeinated coffee and tea may protect against type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, and stroke in this new
okay.
research. Yeah, so
Is it the caffeine then, or is
it's
it
the
something
caffeine.
else in the coffee?
It
Okay.
is the caffeine, is what they say. Because they also add
Okay.
tea into that and everything like that. So maybe a Red Bull would do the same thing, just
Yeah, drink a whole bunch of Mountain Dew. You got tons of caffeine there.
maybe not a whole bunch, Jamie. Maybe
Well, I mean,
they,
there are the problems of the high fructose corn syrup causing gout and
well,
other
yeah,
massive
exactly.
health issues. I mean, so maybe not drink so much of it, but hey, at least you get the caffeine. That's good for you. I'm drinking my health drink. It's killing me, but I'm drinking my health drink.
Well, yeah, life will kill you. But yeah,
Yep.
at least coffee you can monitor how much sugar and everything
Yeah.
else you throw into
Yep.
it. But yeah, they
Yep.
said about people that drank 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine a day had a lower risk of
Okay.
cardio disease and everything like that. So
No, that's cool. So it kind of correlates with red wine and stuff like that, then, because those have that same basic kind of health
right,
effect too, don't they?
I believe so. I don't know. Doctors can never agree on this, and then you have
Yeah.
the teetotalers in the scientific community who want to
Yep.
make us all ditch our alcohol and everything like that. But
Yep.
it allows us to go on. That's what I say. Without
It
alcohol,
does. Yes, absolutely.
yeah. But apparently,
Without
coffee
alcohol,
drinkers.
my youth would have not have been as fun.
My current life wouldn't be nearly as fun without alcohol either. But yeah, coffee
Well,
drinkers
although
apparently get the best out of it.
okay.
But yeah, so I thought that was a bit
Oh,
interesting. Yeah.
I guess I'll have to start drinking coffee then, because I used to drink quite a bit of coffee.
Yeah, at least it says 2 to 3 cups a day. So it's not really all that much even, so just
yeah, no.
Yeah, I usually have about 2 cups, but
I might do something I started doing not too long ago, and
uh-huh.
where I would I drink a lot of water.
Right.
And so what I would do is I for some reason I bought some instant coffee. I've never bought instant coffee before. But I bought some instant coffee and I'm like, okay, so I need to use this up, but I don't want to heat water up. So I'd fill a gallon jug with water and put like one or two of the instant coffee tubes into the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd basically be drinking cool, warm, not hot, not cold, just kind of room temperature coffee. And
okay.
yeah, I kind of liked that. It tastes good. I love the taste of coffee.
Yeah. So do I.
But,
It's a lovely taste.
I also like tea. However, unfortunately, 90% of the decent tea is uncaffeinated now.
Really?
Yeah. It's tough. If you the brand that I usually get is like Celestial Seasonings for tea, and because they have a lot of flavored teas like Bengal spice tea and fruit teas and stuff like that, which is a lot of it is green tea, so that's why it's decaffeinated, because green tea doesn't have caffeine in it, if I remember correctly.
No, it does. It's just not as concentrated. It does have caffeine.
Okay.
Because they don't add caffeine to the black tea,
right?
So
yeah. I didn't know if a green tea leaf didn't have caffeine versus a black tea leaf.
No, they do. I mean, it does. Yep.
Okay. But for some reason, every single tea that they sell, other than like one, is non-caffeinated. It's decaffeinated.
Huh. That doesn't sound good at all.
No.
Not at all.
I mean, it tastes good, but it doesn't have the caffeine, so it kind of eliminates that.
Yeah, so you can't use that for this purpose, at least.
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one little bit more tech news. Just one.
Okay.
It's kind of a funny story. So apparently, some lesbians were sick and tired of trans men or trans women being on their social dating apps and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a company came up with one that uses facial recognition to exclude trans women.
Yeah, it wasn't. I knew it wouldn't be too long before parts of the LGBT community would start going against the other parts. I mean, the I mean, from the very beginning of it, the homosexual people never got along with the bi people because the bi went both ways, and they didn't like that concept.
Yeah,
now with the transgenders, I mean, the gay people don't want to do a gay woman does not want to date a dude that transitioned into a woman.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they're just not interested in that.
Yep. Apparently, this app is called Le App, so L''app. Yeah. So
yep. Make it French, and it sounds good, of course.
Exactly. It might even be French. I don't know.
Yeah.
This story doesn't say where it's from, but
okay.
Well, CEO is
It's not too surprising that would happen. I mean, you can never throw a whole bunch of different types of people into one organization and expect there to be any form of solidarity amongst everyone. It's just not possible to happen.
Exactly. Yep. It's like, I'm not even sure what. Oh man, hold on. I think I may have forgotten to do something. I forgot to do something. Yep. I messed this up. Yep. I messed this up.
What did you forget to do?
I forgot to go live.
Well, that's problematic.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let me. Okay, now we're live. Okay, sorry everybody, you've missed half the show. I forgot to go live. Sorry about that. If anybody is listening, well, we'll just continue where we left off, anyways.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, it's 11 o'clock now, which is when we generally start going live, anyways. So
it is. But I posted on on social media that we're going live at 10:30, and well, yeah.
What can you do? Unprofessionalism. I don't know.
I know. Damn it. What can you do? I can't be perfect 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Well, so guys, you missed. Guys, you missed talk about furries in Russia. You missed Elon talk and a bit of Trump and some lesbian action going on. So yeah, you missed quite a bit. But beyond that, let's get back into it. You have anything else there?
I've got another thing about Elon Musk.
Okay.
So you know how people start calling people different things just because it sounds bad.
Right.
Well, Politico.com is now saying that Elon Musk is going to be the first and newest oligarch in the U.S.
Okay.
Their reasoning for that is because Trump is going to have him help out in the government while he's still running his businesses. So they believe that Elon Musk is going to be able to give himself all sorts of sweetheart deals and stuff like that, make sure that the FAA can't stop him from doing anything, basically make it so he can do anything that he wants to without any repercussion.
Interesting.
Do you know what part of the government Trump wants to put him into?
Yeah, just like monitoring, like how it's ran and getting rid of people and things like that, right? If they suck and whatnot.
He wants to start a new department.
Right.
It'll be the Department of Government Efficiency.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I mean, sure, you'll have some sway over. He might have some sway over. Well, he won't, because all he's doing is reporting to Trump what he finds, and then Trump will have to do everything.
See, this is what Trump says, but I don't think Elon has time for this, and I'm not even sure if he'd want it. It's
He's openly said that he wants to do it.
I also heard one thing about this where
Elon Musk is all in on this, I think.
Right, but I also heard that he didn't want to be part of the cabinet. But if you're a secretary of a department,
Right.
that means you're part of the cabinet.
I don't think he
So
wants to be the secretary of the department. I think he wants to be more of
a czar, like the term that we
no, no,
use.
no, no. Collaborator with them. He wants to work with them, but not actually be part of it.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, that's different. I would say he's an
Yeah.
oligarch, but then we have other oligarchs like Bill Gates and Warren
Yeah.
Buffett,
We've had
and
oligarchs. We've had oligarchs in this country for so long. I mean,
exactly.
there is no business, there is no multi-billionaire out there that doesn't have that doesn't have influence over what the government does.
Exactly. They give money to all the politicians. They just have lobby
Yeah.
groups and everything like this. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
They all get away with whatever they want to do. So what's the big deal?
Of course. But the media hates Elon Musk now. So what can you do? What can
Of
you
course.
do?
Yep. Yep. And then
Let's see.
RFK, you heard? Go ahead.
What? No, you.
Okay. Have you heard what RFK is planning? What Trump and him are planning on doing?
Not precisely, no.
Okay. So he is going to be entering into the Department of Agriculture.
Uh-huh.
And one of his plans is to get rid of a lot of the pesticides and stuff like that are legal here in the US, but nowhere else in the world.
Okay.
Because of how dangerous they are. He's planning on working with smaller farms so that the small family farms can start thriving and surviving again.
Okay.
He basically, I don't think it's going to get to the point of where it's all organic or anything like that, but he wants to lead towards that. And the main reason for doing that is a couple of things. They found that the nutrients in the food we eat now is so much less than the nutrients in that same food like 30 years ago. And that's because the quality of the land has been declining because of all the pesticides and everything else that gets put on the land, and the way that they till and stuff like that, it loses basically all of its moisture. So I mean, just the land itself is having problems.
Well, right,
and
right.
So,
that's why they do rotate cropping and whatnot. So
yeah. Because the result of that is that the nutritional value in a lot of the food is not nearly as high as it used to be.
Huh.
And so he plans on working with a lot of the farmers and stuff like that to try to re-enrich the land and to try to there's areas where there's small farmers are literally taking back deserts with these practices. They're turning deserts into farmland again.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So he wants to work real heavy on that. He's also talking about he doesn't want to get rid of all of the vaccines. I was kind of shocked by this, but here in the US, a child is given about 2 times the vaccines that they are anywhere in Europe or anywhere else in the world.
Oh yeah, they get so many. My 2 kids, holy hell, it's crazy how many they.
Yeah, yeah. So he's wanting to work with people to. He doesn't want to get rid of all the vaccines, but he wants to make it so that everybody knows how efficient these vaccines are. How good they are. If there's any massive downsides to the vaccines, and then allow the parents to choose which ones they get and don't get. I think basically.
Okay, makes sense.
So that's kind of cool too. Yeah, just there's so much about food that. You look at, it's hilarious. You look at like the cereal Trix. They just launched a new Trix for Australia. If you look at the ingredient list between what's sold in the US and what they're selling in Australia now, There are so many food colorings and dyes and stuff like that in the U.S. food that's not at all present in anywhere else.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is a common theme. I see this theme all over the place.
Yep.
I hear how bad it might be, but I don't know. Yeah, it's
well, I mean, they keep saying that it may cause cancer, it may cause this,
well,
it may
everything
cause
can
that.
cause cancer.
Well, everything can cause
Exactly.
that. Yes.
Exactly.
So, but if you, in my opinion, if you can replace a food coloring dye that's made with petrochemicals with a food coloring dye that's made from, say, plants, I think I'd rather have the food coloring dye from plants than the petrochemicals.
No, I understand that.
Just my personal opinion.
On another food note, apparently the University of Michigan, they did a study to look at the carbon footprint of homegrown food. You know, those backyard gardens, right?
Yep.
Apparently you shouldn't do it. Apparently it's bad. So bad to have a garden. So
what?
Yeah, it says the carbon footprint of homegrown foods, aka gardens, is 5 times greater than produce from conventional agriculture practices. So basically, just leave it to the farmers. Don't do it yourself because you're just killing the planet, is what the basic theme of this is. Except for 2 types of food. There's 2 foods that you can grow in a garden, they say, which is better for it.
Okay.
Tomatoes and asparagus. So one everybody eats, and the other one is like half the population won't even touch it. So,
So basically, what they're saying is that they haven't perfected the commercial growth of tomatoes and asparagus yet. So it's still good to grow them in your home farm. But once we've got that perfected, then you shouldn't even do that.
No, it's actually about the transportation costs of those 2 things, because a lot of the times it's like most tomatoes here in the United States come from Mexico.
Right.
And or South America and things like that. And so because of that, it's the same thing. It's the transportation costs or CO2 from the transportation that actually makes it higher to come from agriculture farms instead of from your backyard.
But okay, yeah. So I guess the question that I have is, what carbon would be produced by your backyard garden?
It's like the materials
it uses carbon dioxide as fuel.
Plant beds, raising up plant beds, that's bad, don't you know? Not having inefficient composting is bad. It's all these things they say. So,
oh my god.
Yep. Raised beds, gardens, baths. Yep.
If only the food didn't taste so much better.
I know. So it's so all these homesteaders, this homestead movement, they should just stop it and go back to buying from the grocery store.
Yeah. Go back to buying shit that's loaded with pesticides and chemicals and all this other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I personally remember when we lived up in Woodbury, that garden that Mom had out back, the raspberries and the strawberries, they tasted so much better than anything you could buy at the store.
Oh yeah, those raspberry bushes were awesome. They really were.
They were, yes.
And then the apples in East Chain, those were pretty tasty too.
Yep, they absolutely were.
Well, here at Mindless Meanderings, we are a value for value model for how we make money off this. This means you are producers of the show and you can help us with all aspects of the show. This has been described as time, talent, and treasure. And you can help out by doing art or jingles for the show. You can also send us ideas and information for topics that we cover. You can email me at jesse@mindlessc.com, or you can email Jamin here at jamin@mindlessmeanderings.com. But most importantly, we need the treasure. Money will ensure that we can continue bringing you our mindless meanderings. Just donate however much you think this podcast was worth to you. Could be $300, could be $1. Just send us what you feel this podcast was worth to you. Any amount helps, and if it keeps us spouting our mindless meanderings, that will be great. When you donate, you can also send a short email that we will read on air. You can donate through our website, mindlessmeanderings.com, or through your favorite podcast app. When you do donate treasure, we will list you as a producer of the show. Since we are just starting out, whoever donates at least $100 will be listed as an executive producer, and the rest will be listed as associate producers. So please help us out so that we can keep up our mindless meanderings. And speaking of mindless meanderings, apparently they did a study to figure out how trans kids, how often they actually go back to their original gender.
Yeah.
And apparently it's quite a shift. So most kids grow out of their desire to change sex. It's like if you want to be the opposite sex, if you're age 11, it can be up to about, looks like around 12%, 13%. But by the time you get to be 25, it's down to maybe 3%, if that. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a huge drop off. 16, it's even a lot less than 11. But 11, that's kind of like when puberty starts. Things are going crazy in your body.
Yep.
Yeah. It is a confusing time. I think well, all adults have been through it, so except for maybe one or two here that haven't, because some sort of biological thing. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the younger kids, they go through these phases where, their best friend is a girl, so they think they should be a girl too, that type of thing. I mean, it has nothing. Now, I can't say it has nothing. The chance of it being something neurological where you just feel like you're in the wrong body is so minuscule that it barely even fits into a percentage type thing.
Right,
it's like 0.0 some percent. So, yeah, it just, kids have always wanted to dress up. Now some do, some don't. But I mean, there have always been young boys that were fascinated by their mom's shoes, the high heels. So they'd put them on and walk around in them. They were fascinated by just the different styles of clothing that the different genders would wear. So they would dress up in them. Now, there were also a lot of ones where the mother or the sisters, usually not brothers, thought, oh, he's so cute. What would he look like dressed up as a girl?
Yep,
I know lots of people who had older sisters that would run in terror trying to get away from the clothes that they wanted them to put on.
Yeah. I could see that. It's good thing we only have brothers.
That's just a natural part. Yeah, no kidding. That's just a natural part of growing up. So, I mean, it makes absolutely it doesn't surprise me at all that by the time they hit 20 or so, the percentage of them that actually feel that same way is so minuscule.
Oh, yeah. Oh, another poll here. Hey, this was kind of shifting topics, but this one's about Hitler. So this is another fun one.
Oh, a fun one, yeah. So, now, are we talking about Trump, or are we talking about actual Hitler?
Actual Hitler. Apparently, they did a study.
Okay.
They took a poll to see whether or not people thought that Hitler had some good ideas, or if he was evil and had no redeeming features, or they weren't sure about it. So apparently, in general, the whole population, about 11% said he had some good ideas. 12% didn't know. And then 77% said that he was completely evil, no redeeming features. Apparently, when you go through this, it's kind of interesting. Apparently, Gen Z, or people 18 to 29, they skew a bit differently, because in regular population is about 11%, so roughly what, 10% of the population, 1 in 10. But for them, it's like 21% think that he had some good ideas. So it's like 1 in 5, almost double what the regular population is, think that he had it, that he actually had a good idea. And 20% are unsure. Only 59% of like that generation say that he was just completely evil. So things have shifted a bit. Yeah. If you go up to like 50 to 64 years of age, it's like 7% said he had some good ideas. 86% said no. And then even the ones that actually lived through World War II, 88% said he had no redeeming characteristics.
Yep.
And then they even broke it down into like Republican and Democrat. This is kind of funny. 13% of Republicans said that he had some good ideas. 14% of Democrats said he had some good ideas. So technically, now statistically, that's probably within the margin of error. But just for this, more Democrats think that Hitler had some good ideas versus Republicans. Now that is kind of funny.
That really is, yeah. The further away you are from something, the more people are going to be like, well, I mean, he couldn't have been that bad.
No, exactly. It was just like that historian that said that Churchill was the villain. I can't remember what that guy's name was, but he said Churchill was a villain. But so we're getting further and further away from Hitler. So yeah, some people start talking this sort of nonsense. But what was funny is that right after that story came out, I was listening to a podcast out of the BBC. Mm-hmm. And in it, this historian, she actually worked at Churchill's home and everything like that.
Okay.
And she was a curator there. And so she knows all the inner workings and everything like that. And the things that she said, you could even see how the other guy came to that same point of view. Because she said that Churchill, when he went to Germany at one point in time, he never met Hitler. But when he went to Germany, he goes, this is war. This is going to be war. This is even before World War II started or anything like that. He just knew that Germany was on a war footing. Plain and simple. He felt it. And so he was going to do everything in his power to make sure that England would be okay and that Germany would be stopped. So this guy was saying that Churchill was trying to stop Germany no matter what. Well, he was, but for just, to me, not nefarious reasons. This guy just put nefarious reasons in there instead of just him being somebody that lived through World War I and knowing what things were going to be. And so he just wanted to make sure that England would be fine, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the writing was on the wall for anybody that paid attention before World War II started. I mean, the reparations and everything else like that, all of the stuff that they did to Germany after the end of World War I. I mean, it got to the point where Germany had a choice to make. We either go to war and fight again, or we just crumble and die.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the writing was on the wall for anybody that went there and paid attention. And I think it speaks very highly of Churchill that he saw that and was like, no, we need to do something about this right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm pro Churchill. Really, it just made sense.
He wasn't a perfect man, but he was a good man.
Yep, exactly. He
was what they needed for the time, especially. I think that was the biggest thing. Is if it would have been someone other than Churchill with his personality, with the way that he was, I think that things would be extremely different now.
Oh, completely. Apparently, he thought that he was in place for a reason.
Yeah.
But he's not the only leader that actually thought that. It was like our own founding father, George Washington, actually thought that he was destined for greatness and everything like that because he was able to survive so many scrapes without a scratch. Like one time he was like riding through a battle with some Native Americans, and they shot at him, and his coat was riddled with bullet holes, but not a one touched him.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So, you know, some people just believe that they are destined, and possibly they are. I'm not going to second guess that. But yeah, some people really have this idea, you know. Hitler may have thought the same thing.
Washington, yeah, he might have. For, you know, George Washington, the coat loaded, riddled with bullets is actually very amusing because if you think about the types of guns that they had back then,
completely, yep.
I mean, there was absolutely no control over where that bullet went.
Yep, exactly.
You point and pull the trigger and hope it goes somewhere near. So the fact that nothing touched him with just that kind of randomness is pretty cool.
It really is.
If it were modern guns, I don't think that would have happened.
You never know. You never know. I heard this.
What was it? It's possible that it might have, but
I heard this thing where I can't remember if it was a TV show or I was just reading something, but it said that with infantry, their chance of actually hitting somebody, I was reading a book. It was a Jack Reacher book, so I don't know if it's accurate or not, but in it, he was saying that infantry, it's about for every 1,500 shots, they will actually kill somebody. 1,500 rounds of ammunition it takes to kill one person. With
modern weaponry?
Yes, yeah. Modern weaponry.
Wow.
Yeah. This is just with infantry. I'm sure this isn't counting SEALs or anything like that can actually shoot straight. Yeah. No offense to infantry, but yeah, so it's like 1,500 per one person killed. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I mean, it's actually not that surprising because if you think about it, 90% of their shooting is suppression fire. It's trying to make sure that everybody's keeping their heads down so that they're not shooting at you. So,
true. That makes sense.
That throws a huge impact into those numbers as well.
Well, you just had to make sense. Come on, Jamin. What are you trying to do?
I always do that. You know me. I always try to make sense of something.
Yeah, I always like the joke. That's what I go for.
Yep. The joke is definitely good, but
it is. I like the joke. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's see. Should we talk more about global warming sort of stuff, policy, or do you want to learn about some Nobel Prize stuff?
Oh, let's go with the Nobel Prize stuff.
Okay, so some three guys. They won the Nobel Prize in economics.
Okay.
And basically they got it for writing a book that explained why some nations are rich and others are poor. Apparently in this, they argued that strong democratic institutions lead to innovation, investments. And so this explains why some are poor, some are not. And it has to be strong institutions. So the people have to believe in the laws and everything like that. Corruption has to be cracked down on and things like that.
Yeah.
But one thing they can't figure out is China. They can't really understand why China, because part of the whole thing is democratic.
Right.
But they just can't figure out China, which to me cracks me up, because China, they went to a market-based economy, and they invest heavily. So.
Oh yeah. 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 I think it has more to do with capitalism than with democracy, because there's a lot of countries out there that are democracies that aren't very capitalist, and they're not doing so well.
Right. But then, pure capitalism, it's not. I think there's middle ground. I think there's a middle ground. Yeah. It can't be completely capitalist, and it can't be completely driven by the government on what can be made and everything like that. People actually have to be able to give input, and the market has to be obeyed at some levels.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, like with the example of China, I mean, up until they had their awakening and decided to allow a little bit of free market in there, everything was state run. You know, the state decided how much they were going to produce. The state would decide what each factory was going to produce. You know, there was absolutely nothing that was up to free market, and that obviously was not working for them, because I mean they were just extremely in bad shape.
Oh yeah.
But another thing about China is a lot of their economy is actually fake.
Mm-hmm.
They have entire cities where there is not a single person living in that city, but yet there's like hundreds of tall apartment buildings and stuff like that are all empty. They're not even fully done. They've just built the outlying structure, the main walls. You can still see all the way through these apartment complexes. Yet people are buying them and selling them as if it were regular free trade for houses. Now, the reason for that is because of their culture, because ever since their one-child policy, you know, there's so many men versus women in China.
Right.
So in order to be able to get married, you have to own a home.
Right.
Sometimes two homes, depending on the family of the woman. And so they go to these cities and they buy these apartments that have absolutely no structure. And that's their home. That's the home that they buy so that they can get married.
Huh. Makes sense.
I mean, it does, but to me, that kind of screams that it's a somewhat a fake economy.
I could see how part of that is. Yeah. I just looked up the ghost cities. This one picture, it's just a whole bunch of mansions, like without any roads. It's just dirt in between the mansions, and they're European in style. It is crazy looking. It's kind of cool looking, but also crazy.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of ghost cities in China.
Huh? Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it's China. It's but their economy is growing, so it's probably they probably need to do more, but it's an interesting situation. But yeah, this economist said that it just doesn't. He hasn't figured out China yet, so I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, I mean, you know, when you look at China, it's kind of got a. I mean, in a way, it almost balances the free trade or the capitalist system and not democratic system, of course, because it's China, so it's the communist system. But they found a decent balance in there. Mm-hmm. The only problem that you ever run into with that balance is when, say, one of the owners of the large companies said something that's not quite positive about China, then they suddenly disappear for like 2 years and come back completely brainwashed.
Yeah. That is
so I mean that's one of the downsides to that, but
exactly.
I mean, they do have a fairly decent balance over there with their politic, with the government and the businesses. So
yeah. Well, let's see.
I personally would never want to do business there, but
who knows? I'm always up for a challenge. Okay, so let's see here. Just to end it off real quick, I saw that Osama bin Laden's son was banned from France because he did a terror tweet. He was like praising his father, and France didn't like that so much.
Yeah, amazing how that works.
Yeah. And then on the funny note, just to end it on a kind of a humorous note. So in Germany, I don't know how much you remember from your German classes in high school, but they wouldn't have like apostrophes for like saying Joe's Crab Shack. They wouldn't have an apostrophe between the S and Joe. It would just be Joes. Right. Well, apparently English is starting to invade German. And to the point where people are, the official rules are being relaxed, and they're starting to add, what do they call it? The idiot's apostrophe is what they call it. So they're adding the idiot's apostrophe to names, like Rosie's Bar has an apostrophe now, or Katie's Kiosk.
I love that name, the idiot's apostrophe. That is awesome.
Yeah, it really works out, and I guess for the Germans it makes sense. To us we would have been pronouncing it Rosis Bar or Katis Bar, but we need that apostrophe, but Germans don't. But apparently they're starting to use it because English is just everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, that it is. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Nope. It'll just get more and more and more. And
I mean, ever since it's become the international language of flight, if you're a pilot, you have to be able to speak English no matter what country you're going to. Ever since that happened, English is really, it's become the only language that may become universal.
Oh, yeah. We are the lingua franca, which the French hate.
Yep.
And so on that note, thank you for joining us for episode 7 of the Mindless Meanderings podcast. I'm Jesse Fries.
And I'm Jamin Fries.
You guys have a great day.